Yes, hi. We are group 15. We are doing our presentation on the salamander, the Nectaris maculosus. My name is Edra Lona.
Helen Coe.
And Yolanda Torres. Okay, so this slide is just information on our mud puppies. The common name is mud puppy, scientific name Nectaris maculosus. The type is amphibians, diet carnivore, and their average lifespan in the wild is about 11 years, and the size is 8 to 13 inches.
The mud puppies actually go through a metamorphic life stage, which all the developmental stages are all in water. So they go from an egg to a larval stage, which they have their gills. And when they go into their adult stage, they continue to have their gills. There will be no changes except getting larger.
Okay, so this slide shows some images of their several places where they live. First is ponds, rivers, lakes, and streams. Their adaptation is low or high oxygen water, murky environment, and hypososmotic.
So mud puppies are fully aquatic freshwater vertebrates. This means that the water has comparatively lower concentration of ions than bodily fluids. So the challenge is to retain ions because a difference in concentrations lead to ion diffusing out of the body while water diffuses into the body. So there are some physiological aspects that allow these salamanders to adapt and survive in their freshwater environment. Mud puppies contain a urinary bladder that allows them to regulate their ion-water balance. First off, they have a kidney with a wider posterior portion that is for urinary purposes, while the narrow anterior portion has a genital function. Approximately 10% of ammonia and urea in their body is removed by the kidney. They contain a urinary bladder, as you can see in the image, and this bladder allows for the collection of urine, reabsorption of most fluid ingested, and better excretion of waste. There is an archenephric duct, which is a longitudinal tube that carries urine from the kidney to the cloaca. As you can see in the image, there are many small collecting tubules that lead to the duct from the kidney. When the urine travels down the duct, it will be stored in the bladder until the cloaca is open to release the urine. The skin of mud puppies is permeable and certain chemicals can pass through the skin and enter the bloodstream. This also means that contents can pass through the skin and out of the body. In fact, up to 90% of their body fluid ammonia is excreted through their skin.
Okay, so the physiologically effect of the mud puppy, we are going to go through what goes on while they're in the water. So the water molecules are absorbed through the skin. It passes through their external gills, which goes into the capillaries of these gills. As well, sodium and chloride ions enter the gills and they get secreted through the gills in low concentrations, since everything is not 100% absorbed. So these ions, they do get reabsorbed in the urinary process back into the blood to keep the balance due to the hypoosmotic environment that surrounds these mud puppies. Their urine is very dilute, but some ions do leave as well in very low concentrations like the gills. The mud puppies' external gills are dependent on the oxygen levels in the water. Mud puppies in ponds have bigger gills than mud puppies that live in streams, rivers, or lakes because pond water are much more murky and have less oxygen. So this can affect the ion balance as well. So here we have the Penzer mud puppy, which has been discovered. It does show the morphology of what they were before. They did have small gills due to the indentations that they have in their skull, which we can assume that the waters back then had much oxygen, which were more oxygenated, and research is still being done. And for the mud puppy image here is just a live one, so we can actually see the features. So as you can see is the external gills, which they would get their exchange of oxygen, water, and ions. And so even with these, even the matter of fact that mud puppies do have lungs, they predominate their breathing through their external gills. And so this understanding this is like when the actual salamander decided to go terrestrial.
And these are our references.